Coat hanger. You're going to make from a set of plans a really basic skills project in metal using this plan to make this coat hanger. We're going to go through the stages that you need in order to be able to manufacture it, and there are a number of materials, steel that you're going to use, and a number of tools that you're actually going to use to construct the item. To cut your work, you'll either use a junior hacksaw or, much more likely, a hacksaw to cut the metal through. A hacksaw has very fine teeth on the saw blade, which allows you to cut thick, solid material like steel. It's not like a wood saw, which has much larger teeth and cuts much softer material. Right, cutting to length. You're going to use the hacksaw. You're going to have marked the length you want to do it. You can start the saw by putting your thumb on the work and just sliding the saw back. But really you need a hand on the end and you need a good grip on the handle. You're not pushing down with this, and you're just pulling the saw backwards and forwards. It's a cut forwards, a clean backwards, a cut forwards like that. And you just keep cutting until you cut through the material. Right, so here you can see my two pieces of material cut to size. You can lay them on the diagram you've been given and actually use that diagram to mark your materials to size. Right, so if you use the diagram, you can line it up at each end. You can put a ruler across the marks. You can use your scriber to actually physically mark the marks. It'll put a small scratch mark on the work. And you need to mark the centers, and you need to mark where you're going to bend the shape. The center lines here, you then need to use a ruler to actually measure the center line shape. So you can actually use a ruler to measure it, and then you need to mark where the center is so that you can clearly see that. The scriber I've used is like a metal pencil. It has a very sharp point and should never be hit because you'll damage the point. The center punch you can hit with a hammer, has a much blunter point, but will give like a bullet hole mark in your material. This allows the drill to center onto the bullet mark and not break. So the center punch is used to mark the center of holes. Your most common hitting implement is going to be the ball peen hammer. The ball peen hammer, we're going to use the peening end, this end, later for riveting, but obviously most of your work is done using the hammer end. This is your go-to tool when you want to hit something. Right, to center punch, you put the center on the cross that you marked. Make sure it's in the right place. You line it up, hold it between thumb and first finger, and then you give it a reasonably sharp tap with the hammer. And you can see that it puts a little bullet mark into the moulding that the drill will actually locate on. So you can see there's the little mark there. That's what the drill will locate in and will stop it breaking. In total, you need to center punch these two holes here, and then on the back piece you need the two holes here and here and just one hole in the middle. So you can see this has already been drilled with the two holes that you're going to mount against the wall and the one hole that we're going to use for the riveting. These two holes here are for the rivets, and this one here is for the rivets, and there will be another hole here drilled eventually. That concludes the marking out that you need to do. The only other bit you might need to do is to mark the taper on here, in which case you mark the two little bits in from the end and draw the parallel sloped lines you need to file. And if you really want to, you can mark the curve on the end, particularly if you were doing it as a mass production item.